have the honor of speaking with my friend from afar, NinNeru'aEl. We've known each other for quite a few years now, and I've watched as NinNeru'aEl has blossomed into the woman that she is today. In this talk that we shared together, I was so excited to hear of the story of her pregnancy and birth journey. I also have to mention we had such a fun time as she was telling her story. I think I laughed all the way throughout as it was so lighthearted and lovely to hear. Here's what NinNeru'aEl speaks to. Having a very clear sign after facilitating an Ancestral Connections Talk at a women's festival that she was ready to bring her daughter into the world. Connecting to her daughter's spirit with a spirit baby medium. When she finally got pregnant, NinNeru'aEl chose to move through her pregnancy completely free of the medical system. How she navigated her food aversions within the first trimester. Stepping into the practice of deep trust in her body. Rage cleaning her kitchen at 2 a.m. while feeling early birthing sensations. Giving gratitude to her body as the sensations began picking up. Deepening into the birth experience after creating a cozy and safe space within her bathroom. Finally birthing her baby onto the bathroom floor while being completely alone. And navigating a painful to start breastfeeding relationship. This is such a fun story of a first-time mother choosing what felt most aligned for her and her baby to come into the world, and it's one of those stories that cannot be missed. Women, have you heard? The Free Birthing in Color movement now has a private community space for all women to join. Within this private community, we have monthly village prenatals to celebrate and support the pregnant women moving towards their birthing time. There are monthly community calls to build deeper connection with one another. We have bi-monthly book clubs to gain deeper wisdom of our female bodies. There are guest speakers that will facilitate talks on all things women's health. We have space for mothers to share their in-power birth stories and so much more. You can join this community space for only $6 per month from now until December 21st of this year. I know that you've been seeking connection, support, guidance, knowledge, and newfound friendships. So now is the time to join us and find exactly what you're looking for. Even if you don't identify as a woman of color or an Indigenous woman, you're welcome to be here because we all need to be witnessed in the passages of life that we move through, no matter who we are or what we look like. This community will hold you whether you're pregnant or not pregnant, trying to conceive, don't want children at all, if you've had losses or abortions, if you're a birth or death worker of any kind, a grandmother, an auntie, or wise woman, there's space for you to be seen and share your wisdom to the collective well. Go to primalwomenportal.com/FBC community or check the show notes to become a member today. Hello, NinNeru'aEl. Welcome to the Free Birthing in Color movement. I am very excited to have you share your story of the birth of your daughter here today.
I'm excited as well. Thank you so much for opening up space for me to share. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited because I was saying before we recorded, the last time we spoke, you had told me that you were pregnant. And then I was so excited for you. And we've also previously known each other a little bit before then. You'd come to Vancouver Island from Toronto and we'd met up in the city and hung out for a little bit. So I've like tracked your life kind of through these
Yeah.
like little visits that we have. So hearing that you were pregnant, I was so excited for you. And then knowing that you were pregnant and still seeing you post on social media, but not actually seeing you post of the pregnancy or anything like that was really cool. So it was like, I
Yeah.
felt like I was in this kind of secret club because I was like, oh, I know she's pregnant. Oh, this is so cool. But she's not telling anybody else. And like nobody else knows except for the select people she's told. So yeah, being able to hear the full entirety of, your pregnancy journey and the birth journey is really exciting because it has been so on the DL, which I think is amazing because, with social media and Instagram, people just give everything all of the time, which is totally fine. But having this kind of mode of secrecy, if you want to say, is also really awesome, really amazing, really intriguing. So to hear the words of what you went through throughout that journey, I'm very excited to have you share that here with me today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I did do that. I did not tell everyone on social media that I was pregnant, and I don't know that it was like a secrecy thing for me. It was more like a just like maintaining the sanctity of my pregnancy and like the
Mhm.
sacredness of that,
Mhm.
and just energetically
Mhm.
wanting to keep that as clean as possible.
Yeah,
Not only for just me, but like her as well.
totally.
So.
Yeah, totally. Amazing. So before we get into that journey that you were on, I would love to ask you, what is your ancestry and lineage you're passing on to your daughter here?
What is that? I am Jamaican and Vincentian. My dad
Mhm.
is from Jamaica. My mom is from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. These are both places in the Caribbean, and that is the lineage that I'm passing down to this one here.
Mm,
Mom's side, we're also Garifuna, which is indigenous mix of the Caribs and the Africans that were there as slaves. And yeah, they were always they always had the ability to be free.
mhm,
And because they were kind of like exiled. Like what happened was the Africans that were held captive like escaped
mhm,
and to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So they were living free with the Caribs and intermingled, obviously procreated. And once the conquistadors quote unquote discovered St. Vincent,
mhm.
um, they they exiled themselves and they said like no, like deuces
Yeah.
and left to be in Belize and different places in Guatemala. So
Mhm.
my great grandfather is from Belize, so Gary Funa from Belize,
Okay.
and that's also being passed down to this little one as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then I think on my dad's side as well, my great grandfather is also Cuban, so
Okay.
some of that is being passed
Mhm.
there as well.
Wow. Okay. I've heard of the Garifuna because when I was traveling in Guatemala, I think 6 years ago now, I specifically went to the where is it? It's like kind of down on the east side of the country, southeast, I think it is, where there's a big Garifuna yeah, colony where they're living. So I was like, okay, I'm in Guatemala. I have to go there. And I stayed there for a week and it was just really lovely to, yeah,
Amazing.
see all these people and be in that
Wow.
culture. So yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you hung out with my people down.
Yeah, totally.
My
Yeah.
family. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, so thank you for sharing that. That's so cool. And I like that little, yeah, Garifuna piece of information that you've shared. It's like, oh, cool, another connection to
Yeah.
NinNeru'aEl. Um, but the next question I'd love to ask you is, where does your motherhood journey begin?
That is such an expansive question.
Mm,
I feel like I feel like my motherhood journey began sort of like in childhood, tending to myself.
mm,
Um, my mom was a single mom with me for when I was living with her when I was a child, and she worked two jobs.
mm,
So I sort of like tended to myself a lot of the time as a child. So like mothering myself, mothering my own mom in a
mm,
sense a lot of the times. And just like had a huge aversion to being a mom as a child. And I don't
mhm,
even think that like stemmed from like I didn't want children. I feel like it was just like held resentment from like just seeing the women in my family be put in like really
mhm,
horrible positions as single mothers. There's a huge thread of single moms in my family line.
mm.
So I think it was like an aversion to that and just being like, I don't want to have a baby because
Right.
I don't want this to be the situation for me.
Mm,
Um, fast forward to now, that is my reality. But
Okay.
yeah, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but definitely a huge aversion was where that stemmed from. And then I think my motherhood journey, like cognizantly, began, I guess, just like discovering that, okay, yeah, I do want to be a mom when I left university.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and started on my like birth work journey. First as a doula. You want some booby? Yeah. So yeah, when I left university and started on my birth work journey as a doula, and just realizing that yeah, like I actually do want to have children, and
Mm-hmm.
then super cognitively or consciously, my motherhood journey began. Um, like connecting with her spirit before she
Mm-hmm.
came, connecting with her being.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she started coming to me like I think before I even realized it was actually her, maybe in like 2021 or something like that. Trying to
Okay.
the year I'm like approximating.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And that was like when I chose to make a lot of shifts for myself
Yeah.
in my life. Like I totally stopped doing in the system birth work and yeah, just was a lot more conscious about how I wanted to live my life. I was like, I no longer want to be in um crappy relationships. I want to live this sort of lifestyle and blah 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 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, like an unfolding started to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I left the final crappy relationship that I was in. And yeah, and was in the first place that I was renting like completely on my own.
Okay.
Before I'd like only lived with like either family or like couch surfing or roommates.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was the first place that I was renting on my own. And then just like a lot opened up for me. Yes, a lot opened up for me from that experience in 2021, 2022. Yeah. And then went to Earth Daughters Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Forget which year was the first year of Earth Daughters Festival, but it was the first year of Earth Daughters Festival. And because me and Amanda had done RBK together, she reached out to me and was like, "Yeah, do you want to like participate in doing this and want to do a little workshop, whatever?" And I
Mm-hmm.
honestly had no idea what I was gonna do. I was just like, "Yeah, sure,
Mm-hmm.
great, I'll do it."
Yeah.
And then I received the the topic that I wanted to share, the teachings that I wanted to share for the workshop, which was an ancestral connection circle.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, just started receiving exactly what I wanted to share.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to August, I went, had an amazing time, did the workshop, and then right after doing the workshop, I immediately heard like clairaudiently, like, now you can get pregnant. And I was like, whoa, what? Like, okay, this is something that I'm hearing right now. And yeah, shared it with my friend Kayla, who was also there with me. And she was like reflecting back like the power in that. And even still, I was like, well, just something that I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know if it's true or not yet. Or what. And then shortly after, I think it was like either the same day later on in the day or like the next day, I received her name, which
Wow.
is not her current name. The name that she wanted to be called was Daphne.
Mm.
Her dad didn't like her first name, so legally she is Dara, but
Okay.
actually she's Daphne.
I love that name. I think that's so cute, Daphne.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was very cute too. Definitely not a name I would have like didn't choose for myself. So like
Mm-hmm.
I knew within me that like, okay, yeah, this isn't coming from anything with me.
Mm-hmm.
This is like she wants to be named that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then after that, I was like, okay, like there is a spirit baby connecting with me. Her name is Daphne. I'm gonna continue just like listening to what comes through for like what needs to be created in my life to like move forward and welcome her in because personally I believe our spirit babies are our number one like spirit guides because they want the absolute best reality for us
Mm-hmm.
because they want to participate in that reality with us.
Mm-hmm.
So just continuing that thread of listening to her and what I needed to shift in my life. And I think that is like consciously where my motherhood journey started and
Mm-hmm.
started shifting things like first huge shift that like I was very resistant to was moving back in with my mom in Burlington.
Mm-hmm.
I'd been living like outside of my house for like years in Toronto, just like living around the GTA and just like
Mm-hmm.
not wanting to live in that house ever again. And
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't find another place to rent quick enough. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I will do this. It was like one of those where like I was very resistant to it, but I knew that would be the situation
Mm-hmm.
regardless. But that led me to doing a really powerful self-mastery course where I got so much resolution with my family members, so like with my mom and with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like after that, like so much energetically and in my physical reality just opened up for me.
Mm-hmm.
From there, I would intentionally said that I was going to be celibate for like 2 years and not date anyone and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And also through the self-mastery course ended up what's it called? Blanking on words. Ended up ended up not reconnecting like romantically with my ex, but like becoming on good terms with him.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it was really interesting what happened after that. And he was actually the one that was like really reflecting back to me, like, hey, yeah, do you actually want that to be your reality? Like, not being in a relationship or like anything for literally 2 years.
Mm.
And I was just like, you know what? No, actually, I don't want that.
Mm.
So, so I opened myself up to dating again, and at first was like only meeting someone in person, and
Mm-hmm.
then quickly realized that I only hang out with women all the time. So who am I meeting in person? That's not a woman. So I decided to make a Tinder profile and a Hinge profile and just be very honest about who I
Mm.
am. I pretty much just like copy pasted my business
Mm.
bio, business
Okay.
page bio in my Tinder profile
Nice.
and just like put everything that I wanted, like I want to be married, I want children, I'm unvaccinated, all the
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then her dad reached out to me and was like super just like on the same page with me about everything and was even telling me stuff about like um fertility awareness method and herbalism and whatever. I'm like, whoa, like I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
teach you any of this stuff right
Yeah.
now. Like, what's going on? So yeah, met him and we went on a few dates and it was great. Had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the same values. Was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Still was not thinking anything like I'm gonna get pregnant and blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And to like sidebar from this, yes, baby, I know I'm talking a lot, and you're like, what's going on? Hold on a second. There we go. Yeah, and to sidebar, before I'd met him, this wonderful woman named Caroline,
Mm,
um, she's like a, for lack of a better term, spirit baby medium,
yeah.
reached out to me, not in like a, oh, I have something to tell you sort of thing. Like she was just looking to connect with birth workers around the GTA. So she was like reaching out to people, and I was like, yeah, sure, like let's have a Zoom and talk more about what you do and blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like sharing with her that I was like connecting with the spirit baby and like, but I won't make this like about that because I understand that's your work and blah blah blah. And she's like, no, like, do you want me to tell you what I'm getting and whatever? So I was like, let's see if this lady's actually like legit. And
Yeah.
because I'm also very like particular too about like, do I have read my energy and like who I
Mm-hmm.
even allow into my life to participate in doing that for me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just like skeptically allowed her to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
she was like on the nail with everything that I was already getting
Yeah.
from her.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like she's pretty legit. Awesome.
Mm.
And yeah, she just I was like still in the process of like dating. So I was like, well, so like can you tell me anything about her dad and blah 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 blah. And she told me a little bit about his personality and stuff like that. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like actively seeking that
Mm-hmm.
either. I was just like letting it unfold how it needed to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and ended up being her dad. And ended up getting pregnant like a month and a half into our relationship.
Oh, wow.
Super
Okay.
speedy, quick. Someone
Mm-hmm.
was not playing any games. She was like, I need to be
Yeah.
physical reality now.
She was ready.
Yeah, she was ready to come. Um, yeah. It's like a very long-winded story.
Yeah,
But
but there's so many
that is
pieces to it that make up the whole, the preconception part is also just as important as the pregnancy and the birth and the postpartum. So,
Mhm.
yeah. So then
Yeah.
what was your pregnancy journey like? I kind of know how it goes, but for other people, like what were your choices in pregnancy and
Oh, okay. Yeah. So decided to have a wild pregnancy, which is basically didn't do any tests at all,
Mm,
didn't do anything, including the medical system at all.
yeah.
It was very chill. I pretty much just like was like rocking with connecting with her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, worked with the woman Caroline a few times um just to like check in and see what she was getting, what I was
Mm-hmm.
getting and everything like that, which
Mm-hmm.
was really nice. Um, and then I think the only two things that I did that were like sort of checky, but not really, is I attended a village prenatal with Sister Morningstar
Mm-hmm.
and she palpated my belly. And at the time I was like, I can't remember, I think it was like 4 months, quote unquote, around there pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I was carrying like how my body carried, which was like you couldn't really tell that I was pregnant, to be honest.
Okay.
And I feel like every woman has this like, am I really pregnant? Even if they have a wild pregnancy or not. So that
Mm-hmm.
was what I was going through in those moments. And then like especially because it wasn't being reflected back to me that people were obviously can tell that I'm pregnant. I was like, I knew that I was pregnant, but I was like questioning it.
Yeah.
So having the experience of like she palpated my belly and then like showed me with my hands like where my daughter was. I was
Okay.
like, oh my goodness, there's a whole baby in there.
Yeah.
Big. She's so huge.
Aw.
Um, so after that, I like totally stopped questioning all of that
Mm-hmm.
and was like, yep, definitely pregnant, definitely have a baby in there who is huge. And it was really beautiful, to be honest. Like that was pretty much the only thing I felt called to be doing. And then
Yeah.
I listened to her heartbeat once with my little fetoscope.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it, honestly. Like
Yeah.
that's all I really did in terms of test or checking, but like felt so good
Mm-hmm.
my entire pregnancy. Yeah, it was like I had a great time being
Mm.
pregnant, ate so much good food.
Mm.
Um, my first trimester was not eating
Okay.
all the foods that I was typically used to eating. I
Okay.
like Uber Eats so much because literally I just like could not stand cooking. Like the
Mm-hmm.
smell of cooking food was like repugnant.
Mm, yeah.
So like couldn't cook. Typical things that I would usually like eating, like spinach and my stir fries and like healthy, whatever. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I love lamb, could not eat lamb at all. And
Okay.
I'd like just bought these like bougie merguez sausages, which are like lamb sausages, right before all the like taste and smell aversion stuff happened. And I was so cheesed. I was like, no, I can't even eat my sausages. But it was still good because I did eat good. Like I had a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of junk food, but honestly, it is what it is, and I like still enjoyed even that, and it was a really
Mm-hmm.
great experience for me of just like letting go and just like listening to what my body needed, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what that
Mm-hmm.
meant.
Right.
So yeah, it was a day where I had like hot dog, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There was a
Yeah.
day where I had chicken shawarma, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Nice.
Grilled cheese with like the Kraft plastic cheese,
Yeah.
like that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that subsided eventually, like leading up to what would have been like my second trimester. And then I was like back to eating whatever I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing. Um, but yeah, just to like touch on the food aversion thing or like the smell and food aversion thing, I noticed that it would be a lot better for me and like I could eat more and like felt a lot better when
Mm-hmm.
I was like around friends or like around family. And
Oh,
my friend Kayla pointed out that like it was probably something to do with like co-regulating my nervous system because I also spent a lot of my pregnancy just like alone, like with
okay.
myself. Like my mom was in St. Vincent, so like I was basically in the house alone for
Mm-hmm.
like most of my pregnancy and stuff like that. So it was like a lot of like me time, which I'm like totally, that's like my normal, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
But I guess like the vibe of her or like what I needed during pregnancy was that like community and that
Mm-hmm.
like co-regulation. And yeah, that was a really great reflection from Kayla. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, that feels very true in my body.
Mm.
I think that
Yeah.
is actually what is happening here. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow, that's so neat that yeah, and it makes total sense. I feel like you're carrying a child and yeah, to like build that community is how it would be. We'd always have people with us if we were in communal living, women tending to us as we were growing these babies. So that totally makes sense that the co-regulation, if your nervous system isn't so fried and kind of like, and you're in that weird state, you can't digest and all of that. So yeah, that totally makes sense. I'm glad you brought that up because maybe somebody else is out there kind of, wondering, oh, I can't eat any food. I can't do this. It's like, well, maybe just hang out with some girlfriends, hang out with some family, and then eat a nice meal together.
literally, yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
I also want to like bring in just like ancestrally, like culturally for like Caribbean women and like Caribbean families in general, at least for
Mm-hmm.
mine. There's always that like everything is surrounding like food and like the food is like what brings the community together and like the
Mm-hmm.
family together. And I think it's like even ancestrally there was that thread happening as well
Yeah.
for me. And yeah,
Well,
definitely a great reflection from Caleb. Just
yeah.
facts.
Can I ask how was your partner with the idea of you not having any prenatal care and choosing to birth free of the system?
he was great. Like
Yeah.
he did not want me to participate in that at all. We're both
Mm-hmm.
like on the same page in terms of like F the system. Like we
Mm-hmm.
do not need to participate in that at all.
Yeah.
So he was totally like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
keep doing that. And there was even I was even like questioning whether or not I'd wanted to like do a pregnancy test at the beginning because I knew I was pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
but I was also just like maybe I should take one and whatever. And so like I just like texted him and I was like, I'm pretty sure that I'm pregnant. I'll know for sure by like March 17th because that would be like a whole like 40 days and my cycle is usually like a 27, 26 day cycle. Like I typically have short cycles anyway, so I was giving myself like the max amount of possibility that could be possible. So I was like, I'll know for sure by March 17th. Thinking about taking a pregnancy test, but probably won't. And he's like, yeah, you don't need to do that. Like time will tell, blah, 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 blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. And I think his response like made me realize that like, oh wow, like I didn't even want to take a pregnancy test for me.
Right.
I was just like worried that he would not believe that I was pregnant. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
so that's what that
Mm-hmm.
clicked in my brain for me. And I was like, okay, yeah, like totally not doing that. Like
Yeah.
that was something that was there. Glad that was
Okay.
cleared up. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he was
Wow.
great about everything and
Mm.
it was a little bit like nitpicky over like, are you sure you're gonna eat those like seed oil fried foods and salmon and don't eat the salmon. It's factory farmed or
Okay.
whatever. But I'm very glad that I am someone that has a lot of um personal authority over my
Okay.
decisions and doesn't allow someone else to sort of like circumvent that.
Yeah.
Um, so like I just did whatever I wanted anyway. Yeah.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. Oh,
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to share on that pregnancy journey, that doing it yourself and taking charge of your own, body and baby?
Mm, yeah, I'll say that it was like a lot of practice in trusting myself,
Mhm.
trusting my decisions, trusting what I was getting. And yeah, just like a huge thread of just trust, 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 trust throughout the whole. Ooh, oh, are you okay, Mama?
Mm.
Throughout the whole pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Um,
apart from that, it was so great.
hmm Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that. And then what was it like those last kind of weeks or days before your actual birth started and getting into that birth experience
Ooh,
for you?
okay, that's really great. I've never been asked like, what were the weeks leading up? The weeks leading up were just like finishing up all of the open things that I had. Like, I'd had like a barter trade thing for
Mm-hmm.
like services with one of my friends
Mm-hmm.
that made my podcast episode sound stuff. She's an
Okay.
artist. So I like did my final like client thing
Mm-hmm.
like October 31st. She was born like beginning of November. So
Okay.
like it was like all open things were being completed. Um and then my friend Kayla gave me like an amazing massage, and my body was
Mm-hmm.
like so sore at that point of
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy. Like felt like my I literally described it to my mom, I think, as like I feel like my pelvis is like being cracked open like an
Uh-huh.
egg is like what I said. Um, but I was like so sore and so tender. And it was just so amazing to get. Yeah, baby. So amazing to get a massage.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that happened maybe the 1st of November or something
Okay.
like that. Like everything is happening very close together. Um, but yeah, her dad was still on a truck trip because he like does long haul trucking, or
Okay.
so he was like still on a trip. And I was like telling her in my womb like, just wait until your dad is back,
Mm-hmm.
like to be born,
Mm-hmm.
um, and stuff like that, which she totally did wait until her dad came back because he came back literally then like the day, the
Oh,
evening,
wow. Wow.
hours before she came. So yeah, received a massage, finished up like open-ended things,
Mm-hmm.
deep cleaned the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I was in like early labor, but I thought it was just Braxton Hicks. To be honest, I was just like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, but at that point, my mom had come back from St. Vincent to like help me out postpartum and
Yeah.
everything like that with my little brother. And yeah, she like the kitchen had been a mess for basically like a week and a half. And I was just like so annoyed about it the whole week. And then that one day I was like, okay, she's not cleaning it like she said she would.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go downstairs and I'm gonna just clean the kitchen. And this is like 2 a.m. I like just woke up, quote unquote, randomly. Wasn't random. 2 a.m. I just like arise. Like, go downstairs and I'm just like rage cleaning the kitchen. And my mom's like, go to bed, I'll do it. I'm just like, no, like, I'm just gonna clean it because
Mm.
clearly you're never gonna do it. So, yeah, clean the kitchen. And then, like, all throughout when I was cleaning the kitchen, I was like stopping for like
Mm.
sensations that I thought were just Bryson Hicks, but like I was actually in labor. So I was like, wash the dishes, pause for a moment and breathe, wash the dishes.
I love that.
And then the kitchen was clean and I felt great. And then I just went back to bed.
Nice. So sometimes you just gotta move that energy and clean the kitchen as you're doing it.
Literally.
Oh.
And it's so interesting because I think like a day or two before that, I'd been on YouTube and I was just like, okay, random video of this lady in like labor, whatever. It's not like labor as in like she's naked, she's pushing, whatever, but like
Hmm.
beforehand and
Hmm.
just showing her life as a mom, like making food, stopping for a contraction. And that's literally like
Mm.
created that experience for
Yeah.
myself, like
Oh.
unknowingly in a sense. But not even knowing that I was actually in early labor because I just
Hmm.
thought like, it's probably Braxton Hicks, this and that. Okay. But yeah, cleaned the kitchen, went back to bed, and then the rest of that day pretty much like had no sensations, living my life, chilling at home. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention too, I think earlier on the week before having that like client session,
Mm.
I'd like gone to Walmart because I wanted to get a squatty potty, but like they didn't have one. And I remember just like specifically walking around and being like, why am I here?
Mm.
I do not want to be in public right now. And I just went right home. But yeah, and I remember sitting in the car and being like, I think I get what women talk about with them being like, I'm done being pregnant, but I didn't feel like, oh, like I hated the sensation of being pregnant in my body. It was more like, I'm done giving energy to like external sources other
Mm.
than like what I need to be dealing with right here. Sort of
Okay.
vibes was like what I was taking it as. Um, but yeah, fast forward back again,
Mm.
like going a loop-de-loop right now. But fast forward back to didn't experience any sensations that entire day, living my life at home, chilling, eating food. I had like a Zoom call session with one of my friends who was like doing the same self-mastery course that I did, and she
Mm.
just like invited me to participate in her little night where she could like invite people and like whatever because she's graduating and blah blah blah.
Mm.
So I remember sitting on that Zoom call at like 10 p.m. and I have like a little exercise ball that I use instead of a chair. And I was
Mm-hmm.
just like sitting and I was like, oh, this is like the worst right now. I'm like so uncomfortable. I don't even want to be here. I just want to go to bed.
Mm.
Like not knowing that like you're actually experiencing sensation.
Yeah.
That this is why. But like I just thought I was just super pregnant and just like uncomfortable. So it's just that's what it was for
Mm-hmm.
today. But got off of that call, felt great for getting off of that call.
I bet.
And then I think I just went like straight to bed after that. I was like, yep, see you later.
Mm-hmm.
And then again arose at like 1 or 2 a.m. And then I was like, whoa, okay. Like this is happening again. Like this like sensation stuff. Like, is this actually Braxton Hicks? Like, and then I texted my friend, who I'm pretty sure you know too, Reem, and I was like, how do you tell if it's Braxton Hicks or real contraction? She's like, oh, you'll know. Just
Yeah.
like do what you're doing, whatever. I'm just like, okay, whatever. It's like, um, but yeah, got up. Yes, mama.
Mm.
Yeah, I got up and told my mom, who was still awake because she's like a night owl, was
Mm.
like, yeah, I'm like feeling stuff in my body right now. Don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
But can you please make me some oatmeal right now? Because I'm hungry. So she made me like this really beautiful, like cinnamony, milky oatmeal.
Mm.
And I had that. And then I went right back to
Yeah.
bed. And then I woke up again and it felt a little bit more intense. And I was like, okay, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
It was still pretty early in the morning, but I was still like, ah, this could still be Braxton Hicks. Like, we aren't sure all the way yet.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like the thoughts moving through my brain. But yeah, I got up, went to the bathroom, and then at that point, I saw like a little bit of like pink tinge in
Mm.
my discharge. So I was like, okay, this is probably my mucus plug right now. So I
Mm.
probably am actually. So I again told my mom, I was like, yeah, I'm probably in labor. I don't know how long this is gonna take. So like live your life. And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
had a work job that was like an hour and a half away. She's like, okay, peace. Whatever. Um, yeah, so she went on her work job and my brother went to school, my 7-year-old brother. And then yeah, I was just at home. Uh Basically just like a cycle of eat, sleep, wake up, eat, sleep, wake up, was like my whole cycle and
Mm-hmm.
of like labor and messaged her dad and was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm actually in labor. Yeah, I hope you're coming tonight.
Yeah. Hope you make it home.
Literally. And he's like, yeah, I'll make it. Like, don't worry. Like, I'm
Mm.
on my way back right now, just like a few hours out, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I was like, it felt so great, like just like being like experiencing the sensations and then like the pause was like very chill.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it wasn't anything that was like orgasmic or whatever for me. It like
Yeah.
the way that I would describe it was just like intense,
Yeah.
but like not painful, just
Okay.
like intense. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I would describe it as like um I used to do competitive gymnastics as a child, and it felt like I had just done like 4 days of intense conditioning happening in a
Okay.
central area of my body.
Okay.
Basically,
Yeah.
like really, really sore muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I pretty much just like breathed through each one, and that was like the key thread to everything
Mm-hmm.
throughout my entire labor,
Mm-hmm.
birth, or whatever. But yeah, I was like very on top of I need to eat food
Mm-hmm.
because another thing that was going on in my brain was like, I absolutely do not want to feel hungry as well as
Oh
feeling
yeah.
sensations. Like I need to eat at every moment that I possibly can. So I was like, coconut water, soup. What else did I eat? More oatmeal. Like, I was just like eating throughout the whole time. It's like very on top of that.
Hmm.
And then I remember like it was midday and my room gets really nice sun. And I just remember just like being like, ah, like this is so amazing. Just feeling the sun on my skin
Mm.
and just like basking in the sun. And then after that, I was like, okay, I don't need the lights anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like just like laying on my bed, breathing through each sensation and just like giving gratitude as well. I feel like that was also another key was like just like thanking my body for being able to open up and
Hmm.
bring her through, just like thanking
Mm.
my muscles and my bones for opening and just allowing my baby to
Hmm.
come through.
Hmm.
Totally shifted any, totally shifted my energy while moving through the sensations as well into just like almost like a feeling of bliss when I do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Um, I got nothing like orgasmic, but just like a really nice feeling of like, yeah, like I'm grateful.
Hmm.
So did that a few times, which was really beautiful. And then, yeah, my little brother came back home at around like 3, which is when 3:15, 3:30 when school ends. And my mom hadn't come back home yet, which she said she would. And I was
Mm.
like moving into being pissed off about that. And then I was like, you know what? Like, this is not what I need to be thinking about right now. Let's just like be here.
Hmm.
So he came home and he was upset because there was like a raffle at school that he didn't win to go to Great Wolf Lodge.
Oh.
He was like crying and I'm like consoling the 7-year-old as I'm moving through sensation. And yeah, just letting him know that like yeah, like sometimes I'm gonna need to stop what I'm talking and
Hmm.
breathe because the baby might be coming soon. Like, and he was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up getting in touch with my mom and she like calmed him down all the
Okay.
way. And
Yeah.
then he was pretty much just like chilling, doing his own 7-year-old thing downstairs. And I was like, yeah, let me know if you need my help at all. Like, I'm just upstairs doing my thing.
I'm just
Like,
upstairs birthing my baby.
but yeah. He just did his thing the whole time, and I was just upstairs the whole time again on that entire cycle of just like wake up, sleep, wake up, drink a bit of coconut water, nibble
Hmm.
on some food, go back to bed, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then they started to get a little bit more intense-ish. And then her dad came, and he came like right from the truck trip, so he was like stankin'.
Mm.
Really get a lot of opportunities to bathe during those trips. So it was like stunk. I was like, can you please go take a shower immediately? And he's like, I need to wind down before I do anything. And I was like, you smell so bad. But okay, just take the clothes off at least.
Yeah.
Which he did. Um, yeah, and then he was like chilling. The vibe of my entire labor was just like, or birth was just like I was very much in my own zone, like did
Mm.
not feel called to having anyone like touch me or like do any whatever blah 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 stuff. I was just like
Hmm.
breathing and like in my zone.
Yeah.
I like remember stopping at one point and like going to check on my mom or like see
Hmm.
my mom and I like gave her a hug and then I just like went back to my room. Just like so random and sweet. But
Mm.
yeah, did that and she's like, you're doing great. And it's like
Aw.
didn't need those words, but clearly I guess I did in those moments. But it was a nice hug. It was really nice.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, then went back and did my thing. He did his own thing. It was like a listening to podcast episode pretty much the whole time.
Yeah.
But if whenever I needed anything, he was like immediately get it, like water, here you
Mm.
go. Like this, here you go, which was
Hmm.
great.
Hmm.
yeah, he finally took a freaking shower. Hallelujah. And at that point, like stuff like my sensations were starting to like get a little bit more intense. And I just remember moving through this one super duper intense sensation and just like calling on my ancestors and being like, divine ancestors, is there anything that is going to like help me move through this? Like anything that will just like hold me through this and make it as smooth and as beautiful as possible. And I
Mm-hmm.
just received like, as long as you breathe, like
Mm.
you'll survive. But like literally, Verna,
Mm.
like when you breathe, you survive. So I was like, okay, like I will just continue to breathe because that's what I was doing anyway.
Yeah.
Great. So, like confirmation.
Yeah.
So kept doing that and had a super intense sensation and just like breathe and it was great.
Mm.
Yeah, stopped being on the bed at that point. It was just like walking around, squatting at one point, a lot of like leaning over a little chair, a little ottoman that I had at the foot of my bed
Okay.
for a lot of them. And then um I'm just like now connecting that like that felt like such a long time, but it probably wasn't a long time at all because it was like the span of time of when her dad was taking a shower up until he started brushing his teeth. So that
Oh,
was probably
okay.
like not even like 10 minutes. But I'm here thinking it was like an eternity. So yeah, he was like brushing his teeth, and at that point I was like, I feel like I need to like go to the bathroom.
Hmm.
I want to poop, but I don't want to poop on the floor. That was another thing in my brain that was like,
Okay.
I'll poop, but I don't want to poop on the floor. That was the complex I was having. Um, so I eventually like went into the bathroom, sat on the toilet.
Mm.
He was in there brushing his teeth, and I just remember just like thinking that he was brushing his teeth in the loudest way known to man. And I was like, and I'm like, who the brushes their teeth that loud? Like, what is wrong? Like, the thoughts going through my brain. I was like, when are you gonna stop? All of these thoughts happening as I'm just like sitting on the toilet. And then he's like finished brushing his teeth and obviously like the counter's a bit wet. He's like, oh, I'll just like wipe up and then like it's all yours. And it's like, actually, can you just leave? He's like, okay. He just left. And
I
then
love that. Oh my gosh. That's
yeah.
great.
So that commenced the bathroom being the spot, like the portal for me, like the cozy cove, which it really was. Like I'd lit a candle. I think like initially
Hmm.
after I saw like the pink tinge, I was like, okay, well, like light a candle. And then also all throughout the birth too, I was like lighting tea light candles and like setting a prayer. And then
Hmm.
I have like a little like incense diffuser thingy,
Hmm.
which is like a candle and then you can put like resin above it and it like burns the
Hmm.
resin. So I burned like frankincense and myrrh to like clear the space and like
Hmm.
bring in like the holy vibes. I'm not like Christian
Hmm.
or whatever. It's just what I felt called to
Yeah.
do. But, so that was happening throughout the birth too. But it was like super cozy in the bathroom. I like turned off the lights and it was just the candle and me on the toilet and just like sitting there and being like, I don't even think I'm pooping right now. I'm just sitting on the toilet and I also feel like I can't move
Hmm.
sort of vibe. Like not can't move as in like I'm in pain and I can't move. Just like I can't move because it's like I just do not physically feel compelled to move my body right now.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm parked here right now.
Yeah.
I was parked on the toilet on the squatty potty. And I just remember being so tired. And like, I feel like at that point is when I like really felt like I was like in the like psychedelic zone of
Mm.
birth. Not like I
Mm.
was like visually seeing whatever psychedelic stuff, but like I didn't feel like I was like all the way on physical planet Earth or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Um, but yeah, felt really great and like was so tired. And then I remember just like saying to myself, like, I welcome you, or saying to her rather, like, I welcome you, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're welcome to come whenever you want. And right after I said that to her, excuse me, in my head, like I just like felt her so deep in my pelvis. Like I felt her like
Mm.
wiggle a little bit, and I was like, whoa, like you
Yeah.
are down there, girl. Like you're
Wow.
down there. Um, and I was like, okay, like she is down there. All right. Like I'd not known her gender yet
Mm-hmm.
because I did not do any tests, blah, 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 whatever. But I
Mm-hmm.
knew in my heart that she would be a girl, even
Mm.
though what everyone does is like tell you, oh, it's probably gonna be this because you look like this and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I just remember being so like pissed off every time someone was like, yeah, you're probably gonna have a boy. I was like, really not, but you can think that if you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like feeling her so deeply in my pelvis. And then after that, I felt like, okay, I kind of want to get off the toilet now and then move through a few sensations, just like leaning over on the bathtub. Had a brief thought of like, should I fill the bathtub? And then I was like, I'm not fucking filling this bathtub. Like, that is like the worst possible idea I can do right now. Like, no, hard no. Um, but yeah, moved through a few sensations over the bathtub, then on hands and knees. Oh, no, no, no. Oh my God, I completely missed a few parts of the birth too, even
Mm-hmm.
before that. So before that, like as I was sitting on the toilet, um, I asked my partner to get me water because it was just so hot in the
Mm-hmm.
bathroom because like the
Mm-hmm.
heater was on and whatever. It's like late fall, early winter when she was born.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked for some water and then he opened the door and my mom was making chicken soup downstairs and like the smell just like hit me. And then like I like immediately started like starting to throw up
Mm.
as he's like passing me water and I'm like, no, get away. And then he saw me throwing up and then he brings something for me to throw up in it, but it's like a decorative vase. And I'm like, I'm not throwing up in a decorative vase. I'm throwing up and like, get that away from me. Um, but I feel like that throwing up sort of like mentally gave me permission to be like, you know what? If I shit on the floor, I shit on the floor. And then I shit on the floor. So that was great. Yeah, and then I think at one point when I was waiting for him to get done, like being out of the shower or something like that, or like
Mhm.
just like pacing back and forth in the hall, my little brother is like, well, are you a zombie or something? Why do you keep saying, oh? And that totally made me laugh. And yeah, I just want to mention that too, because that was like such a cute and hilarious moment
Yeah.
of the birth. It's like sweet
Aw,
little 7-year-old.
you a zombie. That's so
Yeah.
cute.
Um, but yeah, back to in the zone if she's almost here.
Mm.
I'm like on hands and knees at that point and so tired. And then asked for him to get me a pillow, and he got me a pillow and felt like some relief of like the pressure on my hands from being on hands and knees.
Hmm.
And just like had this moment where like I was just like so freaking tired and like in my head I was like, oh my God, like can I just like take a nap? Like, do I really have to do this right now? Like,
Mm.
I just want to go to bed. And then just like hearing immediately, like clairaudiently, like, you have to do this, Knitter. Like, hearing, like, you have to do this. I was like, okay. And then immediately, like, when I said, like, okay, like, I'll do it in my head, like, my water is like released and like felt the most like relieving and like
Mm.
warm, watery, like release ever. It wasn't like a huge
Hmm.
or anything. It was just like a pop.
Yeah.
I just felt so much relief. I feel like that was like almost one of the best feelings throughout my entire birth was like my waters opening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really nice. And like it like made a sound as well, not like
Okay,
super
yeah.
loud, but I could like hear it and I was like, wow. Okay, like this is probably she's probably gonna come really soon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just after that, just like I'm like, okay, she's gonna come soon. And just like the sensations changing from like feeling like sensations to like feeling like she's like actually like coming down.
Okay, yeah.
Um I didn't really feel like Ring of Fire at the opening of my vagina. It was
Mm.
more like I felt like a burning almost like further up in my pelvis, like
Okay.
around like my bones, sort
Right.
of like the muscles around my bones, which was interesting.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it wasn't like a
yeah.
burning either. It was like I'd like describe it as more like a warmth, like a heat
Mm.
sort of thing for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt that and felt her coming down, but I don't think I like knew how far down she actually was. So like she crowned and
Mm.
I was like, whoa, and like it surprised me. So she went back up because like my brain went to surprise. I was like, oh, I didn't know you were that far down. Like, dang. Like I literally said whoa out loud. Like, whoa. So then she went back up, Avi. Um, And then I was like still super tired and super like, what if I just like laid on my side and tried to like fall asleep? So I literally tried to lay on my side as she's like trying to emerge. And that was like a terrible idea. Like I was on my side and my leg was up and I like couldn't hold my leg and I
Mm.
was like immediately like, no, like I need to turn over. Like and I was like saying it out loud. I was like, I need to turn over. I need to
Mhm.
turn over. This is like the worst. So I turned over once like the break came back onto my hands and knees.
Mhm.
And then after that, just like everything energetically and like within me just got so quiet
Mm.
and just like feeling her come down, like just like this pressure
Mhm.
of her coming down. I didn't feel called to like roar or anything. It was just like quiet, like
Mm.
breathing her out
Yeah.
sort of thing. That was like a really interesting feeling in my body. I remember it
Mhm.
feeling like, wow, like that's does not feel the same as what I was feeling before at all. Um, but yeah, I think like in my brain, what felt like one or like two or three of those, her head came out and um yeah, I had like a thought like, well, I should probably check if it's like a head or a bum. And I had like touched and felt her hair is has a lot of hair clearly. So
Yeah.
like felt her hair. I was like, okay, it's a head, whatever. I wasn't like concerned about it. I was just like, maybe I should
Mhm.
check for
Mhm.
yeah, and I like when I felt her head come out, I was like, okay, like we're almost there, baby. Just like one more, we're almost there.
Mm.
We're almost here. And then I think literally the next one or two of the like feeling of me breathing and like the pressure of her coming out, she just
Mhm.
like flew out of my yoni onto the bathroom mat.
Yeah.
And yeah, I turned around and I picked her up and like saw her chest was like moving up and down and she wasn't
Mm.
crying or anything. She was literally just like I feel like she was like asleep to be honest. And yeah, she like briefly opened her eyes and like just closed them again. So like I knew she was like here and like
Yeah.
alive, but I was like still in my brain like okay, like I want to like rub her back a bit and like just like confirm what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
Sort of deal. So I like rubbed her back a little bit and I was like, hello, baby, and like welcome and all of that stuff and rubbing her back. And like I remember like the look that she gave me. I was like, why'd you just rub my back? Basically like the look on her face. And then she like let out a cry and I was like, okay.
Aw.
What I was waiting for, even though I did not need to do that, but whatever.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, she let out a cry and I like put her on my chest. And yeah, I then checked to like confirm whether or not she was a boy or a girl. And I was like, okay, girl, yep, I was
Mm.
right. It's like, you're a girl, I was right. And give her lots of kisses on her little head. And
Aw.
yeah, we had our little moment. And then I called her dad in. And yeah, he helped me get up.
Oh, so you were
And
there in there the like
the
by
whole time
yourself.
by myself, yeah,
Wow, okay.
like in the zone, like the
Yeah.
vibe of my entire birth.
Okay.
Um, yeah, just like really wanting, especially at that moment, really wanting to just like be in my own
Mm-hmm.
little zone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Earlier than that, I was like totally cool with him being there, like
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I was just doing my thing. We were even like
Mm-hmm.
talking a little bit between the breaks, but like in that moment, I just like needed to be alone.
Okay.
Um,
Wow, that's amazing.
yeah, so yeah, he helped me get up, and then I moved to the bed and was like telling him like basically like starting to tell him like, oh, and this and that happened, and then like she came out and blah blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. Yeah, and was on the bed chilling, and he was like so tired because like he just got back from a trip.
Yeah.
Now he's like all of a sudden in this birth space or whatever. So he was like ready to go to bed, and he's like, and I'm like, I want to like see if the placenta's gonna come out now.
Mm.
Um, because like I also just did not want to like be waiting around for it. Like I just felt very
Yeah.
like wanting to be complete and just like I wanted this placenta to come out and I want to just eat and go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the vibe.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, like doesn't it just come out on its own when you fall asleep and whatever? I'm just like, no, that's not how it works. I like set him a glass bowl so I can put it in. And as he was going to get the glass bowl, I like went on my knees and was holding her and like gently sort of like tugged on the placenta, and then the
Mm-hmm.
placenta came out. Totally chill. A little bit of blood came out after that. Totally normal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I also want to say like I did not like buy pretty much anything for my birth. Like I just like went to my dad's and picked up a few big towels and that's
Mm-hmm.
about it. Like
Yeah.
that's literally all. And then I got coconut water from Costco because I
Yeah.
wanted like heaps of coconut water. Those are like the only two things that I purchased
Mm-hmm.
for the birth. Or not purchased. One thing I purchased, one thing was given to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like free blood onto the towels. And then he came back with the bowl, like the most ginormous glass bowl of life. I'm just like, why is this the bowl you're choosing for the placenta right now? But I was like, okay, it's the only bowl we got right now. So like the most comically, like, why would you get that stuff? He's bringing
It's like the extra large mixing salad bowl
literally
for
that,
the whole family.
literally that
Oh my
though.
gosh.
Um, So yeah, that was where her placenta was. I wanted to have a lotus birth, but then like I like talked myself out of it. Also, he kind of like talked me out of it too. Like her cord and her placenta are like perfectly sized for her. It's just
Mm.
like she didn't have one of those like super long cords that you could just like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mosey around. It's like I really had to be super intentional
Mm-hmm.
if I was going to do that. And like in that moment, I was just like, okay, whatever, like let's just like cut it.
Yeah.
Um, and then like after the fact, like a couple days postpartum, I was like, I honestly could have done it and it would have been amazing because it would have made me like actually be intentional with my movements. Um,
Mm.
but whatever, what's done is done.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted him to cut her cord, so he cut her cord.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom woke up and obviously like my light was on and there was a bunch of blood in the bathroom. She knew that I'd given birth at that point.
Yeah.
Um So she like knocked and I was like, yeah, the baby's here. And she's like started crying a little bit, which was really
Oh.
sweet. Um, and really beautiful because I like she wanted to have a home birth with me and ended up
Mm.
having a C-section with me and then subsequent C-sections with all of her other children. So I feel like it was like
Okay.
a really beautiful moment for her to like experience that. And like
Yeah.
also it's her first grandbaby. So she was like extra, you
Mm-hmm.
know, whatever. So
Aw.
yeah, she came and then I was like, can you please get me a new bowl? So she got me like a correct size bowl
Yeah.
with the placenta in, and she got me like this huge bowl of the chicken soup that previously the smell made me vomit, but
Yeah.
like it was good chicken soup. It was just very
Yeah.
strong
Mm-hmm.
when I was in labor. And then she like fed me chicken soup in bed, which was like so
Aw.
beautiful. And I was like, this is the best. Like, when
Mm-hmm.
since has this woman fed me, spoon fed me since I was like a baby? That's
Yeah.
great. Um, yeah, that was a really beautiful moment. And yeah, then she like, well, she pooped on me before and then she like pooped on me again.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like meconium poop all over like my vulva and like my tummy, and then all she had it all over her.
Mm.
So yeah, had to like give her a little rinse off, and me and my mom did that together, and then
Mm.
she held her in the bathroom while I like took a shower and
Mm-hmm.
washed all the meconium and blood and whatever off of me,
Mm.
which like honestly felt so good after like I felt like I did like a really long sports
Yeah.
marathon, to be honest. Like so like the shower felt really great and nourishing
Mm.
for me in that moment. And and yeah, after that, just like went to bed, was like so surprised that she slept through the night because
Yeah.
I like had not known that that was the case immediately, even
Okay.
as being a birth worker.
Mm-hmm.
But like she slept through the night and it was just like great. I don't even remember if I actually fell asleep, or if I was just like up, like just like like
Mm-hmm.
running on vibes or whatever.
Yeah. Totally buzzing.
But I but I did eventually go to bed
Mm.
and woke up, and it was yeah, it was a very chill, easeful birth experience.
Mm.
Very much felt like another day of my life, and I'm giving birth on this other day of my life.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
yeah, it was
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it was a lot of fun. Like I had a lot of good laughs hearing your story. So it just seems like it was just, you were just doing this and just having a good time, moving through sensations, and then you just did what you had to do, and then you just birthed your baby on the bathroom floor, and that was it. Like
basically, yeah.
that's all it is. That it was just you just gave birth and it was super simple like that. And I think that's so beautiful and so wonderful and so lovely to hear how your mom was there and like you said, spoon feeding you, and you hadn't had that experience since you were a young child, and then having this happen again as you're holding your new baby. That just painted such a beautiful picture in my mind.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it just like for a first time mom going into a birth completely free of the system. And yes, you already know about birth because you work with birth and you have done for a while, but still it's just so I love hearing these first time mother stories that it's like you're not going to take the chance to have your birth experience, your pregnancy and birth experience be stolen from you, be violated, be traumatized, all of these things that can happen just because it's your first baby and you need to like
Exactly.
test it out, quote unquote, before
Yeah.
you can
When we
choose to
don't need a
have a birth in
test.
power. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just like, wow, that's so amazing that
Yeah.
that's what
Let's
you
like
did. You trusted yourself, you trusted your daughter. And then you just had this experience where you're at home, your little brother thought you were a zombie at one point. And like you just did it because you knew you could and you trusted in that. And yeah, you just knew that. that that was what was going to happen, and you made it happen, and then you went to bed and just held your baby to sleep. Like, I just think that's so simple, so easy, and just like so profoundly beautiful to hear.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you so much. And like the whole like testing it out thing, like something I want to say to that is like, why not test out not doing that? Like, why not test out
Exactly.
having a like a birth outside of the system, a birth that's like absolved from other people's
Mm-hmm.
everything, you know,
Yeah,
and just like being completely in your own element and like
totally.
confident in yourself. Like, I feel like let's test out that, to be
Yeah,
honest. Like,
totally.
what's literally already been tested. Like, it's already
Mm-hmm.
been tested. You don't need to test it. Test something else. Like,
Yeah, no, it's so true. Like, why not just try and do it and birth in your power the first time, and then, yeah, it makes more sense to just, yeah, do it that way. I did want to ask you though, how has your breastfeeding relationship been with your baby when you first, after she was first
okay.
born? How was that? Was it easy? Was it difficult? Were there ups and downs? What was that like for you?
Okay, yeah. That is a great question. Okay, at the beginning, it was like super duper painful for me for like pretty much like a month and a half, 2 months
Mm.
of us breastfeeding.
Mm.
Um, yeah, just like super duper painful, but I was like very committed to breastfeeding and just like pretty much thugged it out basically until it got better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is not everyone's choice, but it was mine.
Yeah.
We did to get her birth certificate in Ontario, you have to like you don't have to, you can write it for yourself, but it makes it easier to go see someone, check the baby and whatever. So I'd seen this like out of system, quote unquote, but still in the system, um, nurse woman while I was pregnant. And she's like,
Mm.
yeah, just like you can come after whatever and I'll write you the blah, 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 and it's fine.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. And we went to her, and she's also a lactation consultant. So she's like, oh yeah, like, do you want to like talk about breastfeeding at all while you're here? I was like, yeah, it's like really painful or whatever. So she
Mm-hmm.
like checked her lip or whatever. She's like, yeah, I'm not really seeing any like ties or anything. Um, like it might be a little bit of a lip tie, but honestly, like nothing that I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing that needs to be like whatever
Mm-hmm.
about. Um, and her dad was like totally against like any sort of resolving any whatever tie, and I was also kind of like, like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's okay.
Yeah.
And then we got some osteo work done, me and her, um, like on my 40-day mark from
Mm-hmm.
Reem.
Mm.
And I had her check too, just like I don't know, I was like, I don't know, it's just really painful, really pinchy.
Yeah.
It sucks. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot lie. Like it's not the best time of my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
So she checked and she's like, yeah, I'm like also not seeing any ties, or like she doesn't really have a lot of tension either. I feel like maybe it's just like her mouth is small right now, and like as it grows,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be fine. And
Mm-hmm.
that's literally exactly what happened. She's
Okay.
now like 7 months,
Yeah.
and well, almost 7 months. And breastfeeding is like amazing now.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah.
Have not experienced whatever I experienced at the beginning. So I'm really grateful for that, but definitely at
Mm-hmm.
the beginning it sucked super
Okay.
hard. Um, yeah, it was like I was even trying to like put breast milk on it to like soften them and whatever, and it was just like not happening because like the breast milk and the air would make my nipples cold and then they would crack. So I was
Okay.
like using lanolin and
Yeah.
blah, blah, until eventually just like we both got in our rhythm. Her mouth got bigger because she got bigger.
Yeah.
And now I love breastfeeding her.
Okay. Okay.
So that was my experience with breastfeeding for sure.
Okay.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, because it's nice to hear the stories. Obviously not nice for you being in pain for those first few
Oh
months of
yeah.
breastfeeding, but
Wasn't
it's
fun.
also like that's the normal, that's normal. Sometimes it's not going to be that beautiful. Yeah,
Mhm.
she just latched right away and it was nothing. It felt like
Yeah.
nothing. She just did it and we had it, we just got on really well. Sometimes there is those little things you need to troubleshoot, but it's
Hmm.
just really beautiful to hear that even though it wasn't great, you stuck it out until it did get to a place where now you're like, I love breastfeeding. It's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
hmm
Yeah. I'm happy that I did that. I
hmm
honestly, there was no thought in my brain that was like, I'm going to stop this. It was more
mm,
like, I'm just gonna try to, even though it hurts, like,
yeah.
I need her to be on my boobs because I need to make milk for her to eat. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
she needs
totally.
to live. Basically, the thought.
hmm
Um, yeah, and I think one thing too that I missed with like the placenta coming out too was right before the placenta actually came out, I like mentally was like, thank you, placenta,
mm
for nourishing my baby. Like I I can now take responsibility for nourishing her. I am
Oh,
now going to take care of her. Thank you for your service. And then
oh,
like the placenta came out. I was like, great.
oh, that's so
So
beautiful.
like I forgot to mention that I did.
And then
So
what did you do with it afterwards? Because you didn't do the lotus birth. So once you cut it, did you do anything special or do you still have it?
it is still in the freezer. I
Okay.
really want to bury it. There's a really beautiful creek across the street from where I live in Burlington.
hmm
And yeah, I'd like took really nice walks all throughout my pregnancy there,
mm
connected with like the trees and the water there, the
hmm
whole pregnancy and the different plants, and was eating the wild raspberries and everything like as I was
Yeah.
pregnant at that creek. So I feel like I really want to like make a little special spot
hmm
and bury it at that creek because yeah, even preconception had some like
hmm
really powerful moments there too. So I feel like
Aw,
that's where her placenta needs to be
needs to
given back.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. And because it's so close to home, then she can go and visit it whenever. And
Literally,
yeah,
yeah.
that's so amazing that you made that connection in that spot. And what's like a better gift to Mother Earth than giving a placenta back to her?
Hmm.
So, oh, I love that.
Yeah. And then she was also born again late fall, early winter, so it's kind of hard to dig the soil in Ontario at least. It's
Yeah.
like pretty much semi-frozen. So
Yeah.
gotta wait until around now. I feel
hmm
like I'm actually like being reminded that like, oh yeah, like I do
hmm
need to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
I do need to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometime soon we'll do that and her placenta will be in the earth and
Mm.
that's where we'll be.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I just love your story. Like I said, it was just so fun to listen to it and just so beautiful and just so simple, so easy. You're just pregnant,
Mhm.
you had your baby, and that's it. And now you've got your little one just tucked away on your chest there. And yeah, it's just so beautiful. I'm really grateful to have your story and to have people hear it and yeah, be able to share it with so many other women that are seeking this kind of story medicine, this kind of anecdotal information that's, truly heart-led and intuitive-led and not just evidence-based and, this is what the latest research says and these are the statistics of whatever percentage, it's like, no, it can just be as easy as trusting yourself.
Literally. It's
hmm
as easy as you make it.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, wow. Before we leave off, is there, or I would like to ask you this one question, two questions. Is there anything else that
Mhm.
you want to say about that experience that you had? And then after you can segue into um leaving your information for women to reach out with you because you do a lot of beautiful birth work. Maybe not now because you're in your postpartum time, but you also do lots of beautiful womb work. So if you want to speak to those as well before we leave, I
Yeah.
would love to have you share about your work and your vocation in the space as well.
Yeah. I think, yes, I'm talking, Mama.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the only thing that I'll like leave with is, again, like it's as easy as you make it, and to trust yourself in however easy you want to make it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because although birth is very special and like very powerful, it is also just like another day, it's another day of your life, and you don't have to make it, you don't have to make it like a huge, complicated, whatever. Like it can
Mm-hmm.
really just be, I got up one day and now
Mm-hmm.
I have a baby.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So just like trust yourself, trust your knowing, and continue to trust your knowing
Mm-hmm.
all the way through your motherhood journey, and
Yeah.
you won't be turned astray.
Yeah.
Like your intuition definitely gets like ramped the F up. Preconception and pregnancy, and like especially as a mom,
Mm-hmm.
just continue to always listen to yourself
Mm-hmm.
no matter what, no matter if it like mentally seems delulu or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
listen to yourself,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um because your body, like the sensations in your body will let you know, like you will feel it,
Mm-hmm.
you will feel your intuition, you'll know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah,
Beautiful.
trust yourself. um yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to add at all, or
No, I think you've covered it. Yeah, it's true. Just trust yourself as women. Like we just have that innate oracle that will always guide us to where we are meant to go, what we're meant to do. And the problem doesn't come in with trusting our intuitions. Problems come in when we don't. So,
so true?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess like the information, you can find me on Instagram at QI, so that's Key of Life Birthkeeper. You can email me, keyoflifebirthkeeper@gmail.com. Keyoflifebirthkeeper.com is my website. And from there, I do womb wisdom classes. I do mind abdominal womb massage, yoni steaming, um, postpartum support and tending, like meals and just like um, overall just like sisterhood connection and
Mm-hmm.
making sure that you're well tended to and nourished.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do births, but as of right now, I feel like my place in the birth spectrum is
Mm-hmm.
really like pregnancy and just like really like sitting with women and witnessing wherever they're at,
Mm-hmm.
and walking with them as they become or like already are
Mm-hmm.
super confident in their choice to birth. Yes, birth freely and
Mm-hmm.
sovereign in their own being.
Mm-hmm.
So just like, yeah, if you're wanting to work with me for that, totally reach out for that.
Mm-hmm.
DM me, email me, all of that stuff is what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think if I need to add anything else. Like, am I doing anything that's like I should say here? I do a mother circle, so a women's circle that's like mothers only,
Mm-hmm.
once a month, last Thursday of the month, every month.
Okay.
So if you're a mom and you want to join in on those,
Mm-hmm.
find my Instagram and
Mm.
totally free to join.
Nice.
Would love to have you be there and just like be in community with all the other amazing moms.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, and if you're planning a free birth for the first time or whatever, there's a lot of free birth moms in the group too, so that could be really fun for you.
Mm.
And yeah, just like really
Wow.
excited for what's to come and
Mm-hmm.
what's coming through now that she's here.
Yeah.
Been called to be doing a bunch of like closing of the bones for women, which is
Okay.
like totally awesome. That
Mm-hmm.
like that is where my energy is being asked of
Yeah.
at this point in time for holding space, and it's been really lovely. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're in Canada, Toronto, GTA, and wanting to have a closing of the bones for yourself or some womb work,
Mm-hmm.
totally hit me up.
Mm.
I like to travel too, so even if you're not, hit me up.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. You're a woman of all trades. You're working in all facets of womanhood, which is so beautiful. So I'm sure that there will be plenty of women seeking the services and support and care that you offer.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I'm so grateful to have had you on here, and yeah, just so grateful that this is now another piece of your story that I get to witness and share a little piece of. So thank
Yay.
you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Mm. Thank you so much, women, for listening to this latest episode of the Free Birthing in Color movement. If you want to continue supporting this movement and all that comes with it, please give a 5-star rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Like the videos on YouTube and share this episode with some of your friends. As reciprocity for the work that I'm doing and the content that I'm creating, it only takes 2 minutes to show your support through a 5-star rating, a small written review, and a share. If you want to give a monetary donation to help with the back end costs of keeping everything that is happening within this movement going, you can send your donations through PayPal via the link in the show notes. And again, as reciprocity for the work that I'm doing and creating, I'm so grateful when those donations come through. I have many other avenues of work that I've created, such as Portals of Wisdom, which are educational guidebooks for women to reclaim and remember their personal bodily sovereignty. I have one-to-one activation sessions and one-to-one or group mentorship opportunities, as well as an amazing course called Cyclical Woman that is a deep dive into the natural cycles of Mother Earth and connecting into your internal rhythms in relation to where Mother Earth is at any given moment. And lastly, I want to mention again the Free Birthing in Color community. It is open for enrollment, so please, if you want to create a deeper sense of connection to myself and other women navigating the same phase of life that you're in, please, please, please come and join us, and let's create something truly beautiful in there. All information can be found within the show notes below, or you can go to primalwomanportal.com and you'll find everything that you need. I'll see you in the next episode.